These are the 6 principles I've learned from Lao Tzu and Taoism that I apply to my life and my business. The first one is I have to learn to let go of my ego and my identification. Because if you think about your career titles, that's not who you are. And if you're an attorney and you really want to work online, be a digital nomad, and have financial freedom and time freedom and location freedom, if you're stuck to the mentality and title of an attorney, then you're going to be too scared and unwilling or have the courage to explore a new career because you're worried about what your family's going to say, what your friends are going to say, what your colleagues are going to say. And your ego is keeping you small. It's keeping you from really growing and becoming what you wanted to become, what you want out of your life. So if you're attached to your ego and your title and these fake identities, it's going to be hard to become who you really want to become. And for me, I had a false identity of who I was. Before I got into entrepreneurship, I thought I was a bad communicator. And that was an identity I had for years. I thought no one wanted to hear from me. I thought that I wasn't good at conveying my messages. And I had to challenge that narrative and that false identity and that false ego that says you're a bad communicator. So I got into sales. And sales is a very quick test to see if you are a good communicator or not. And I learned that that story, that identity, was all made up in my head. And people were happy to talk to me and looking forward to our communications. And I could convey my messages. And so I realized that identity kept me small until I challenged it and tested it and experimented with it. And so that is an extremely important first step if you do want to grow in your life and in your business, is challenge these narratives. The interesting thing is the only thing we do in sales and entrepreneurship is work with other humans. And so it's easy. You're dealing with humans, so just be a human. Be kind, be open, listen. And if you do that, it's impossible to lose. Freedom is on the other side of these false narratives that we have about our lives. And once you just try to test and to challenge these narratives, then the world opens up to you. Because everyone else is going through the same thing. They all have false narratives about who they are and their identities that are tied into, I'm a mom, I'm a dad, I'm an American, I'm black, I'm white, I'm this, I'm that. No, you're not. You're not an attorney. You're not a baker. You're not an influencer. You're just a human. So express your humanness through your experiences, through your stories. The second way to get into flow in your business and your life is just have humility. If you zoom out and you realize that we're all from the same carbon that came into existence 4.5 billion years ago in the Big Bang, and all the moments from that time until now, from this actual instant, this moment that you're watching this video, is just the culmination of life unfolding, experiences happening. And so when you zoom out, you actually have humility to realize, well, there's not really anything to gain or to lose. And sales and entrepreneurship is actually an opportunity to share a moment with strangers or friends or colleagues or whoever you're working with. It's just a moment in time. It's just a blink in history. And it's beautiful because we're all here together in this blink. Everyone is born and dies in different eras. And this is your era. This is my era. This 100 years, 150 years, however long we live. We're all here together alive, no matter where you are in the world, where you come from. We're here alive now. And that makes, for me, sales and entrepreneurship sacred, because I get to share a moment of my time with someone else and they get to share it with me. And I know if I'm, for example, prospecting or on a sales call, there's a chance that I will never see or speak with that person again in my life or their life. And that's sacred to me. So I have an opportunity to maybe make them smile, maybe crack a joke, Maybe give them an insight on how to get something done that they didn't realize was possible before. So when you examine your business from that lens, it becomes fun. It becomes more than just what can I get out of it? It becomes how can I give? It actually becomes an honor to pitch you on a product or service. And I get to share in our shared victories and maybe even the shared defeats. Why not think of business as a team sport where you find partners that can help you and you can help them, and your alignment is perfect, where it's a win-win-win for all parties involved. That's the holy grail. That's what we're all after. And that's the way you should always set up your business. From that lens, you can just be kind, you can have grace, and realize, let the chip on your shoulder fade away. Just try to help people. Just try to do your best. And when you have that humility, you'll find that people are actually attracted to you. Have grace, be kind, because at the end of the day, you really have no idea what your customers or prospects are going through. They could have just said their last goodbyes to their mother before she died in hospice. You don't know what people are going through. Maybe the person you just spoke with just heard from their wife and says, hey, I'm ready for my divorce from you. So if we can think about grace from that lens, step back, and it's not about me, it's not about what I can get, it's about how I can serve. How can I go first? How can I give first? How can I say hello first? How can I open the door first? It's one of my hardest lessons I've ever had to learn because I have a chip on my shoulder. But at a certain point, these chips on our shoulders don't serve us anymore. You gotta let it go if you want to grow. And you have to tame your ego. And it's important to be humble enough to be an apprentice, to be a beginner, to be not good, to be okay looking bad until you can eventually get better. Because there is no pinnacle. There is no perfect anything. It's all an evolution of practice, of honing a craft, and of enjoying a craft. If you're not enjoying it, why are you doing it? It doesn't make any sense. And your ego will keep you small. Nobody's self-made. Everyone is made through other people and how they've helped them. There's no such thing as a solopreneur. Yeah, you might have started the business on your own, but there's many people along the way that have helped you grow into what it's become. From your clients, from your friends, from your family, from the technology we get to use. You didn't build that. So you do it together. And that is what humility is all about. Third is to flow in business and life. You have to, and I have to, get rid of the need to rush. It's just a human trait that we all have to overcome. But the need to have results actually holds you back. You only get into the flow when you don't care about the result. You just care about executing on the thing you said you're going to execute on. The rushing is about the end. And if you think about the analogy of music or dancing, nobody rushes through a song to get to the end. You're just dancing. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to get. And no one rushes through music. No one rushes through a dance. It's to be enjoyed. It's to executing on the dance. So if I said I'm going to make the call at 10 a.m., I make the call at 10 a.m. If I said I'm going to shoot the YouTube video, I shoot the YouTube video. I can't care about the result. I just care that I did the thing I said I'm going to do. I'm going to dance to the music. It makes everything so much easier. And if you always are trying to rush, it's really hard to get where you're going. So, for example, in sales, I always try to think of this analogy of, instead of rushing to get a yes, maybe I should rush for no's. You kind of flip the script and the technique, where now you're just enjoying the process, because most of the time you're going to get no's in sales or entrepreneurship in general. So maybe the more no's I get is the ultimate goal I'm looking for, because I know it'll eventually get me to my yeses. So there's ways to play in entrepreneurship and in sales, and to make it fun, and to make it a game. If you realize the harder you try to do something, the further it goes away from you. It's kind of like water. If you try to squeeze water, it just seeps through your fingertips. And if you think about the way Bruce Lee talks about be like water, my friends, that's exactly what business is about. Is if you watch water, I'm right here on the ocean, and if you watch water, it is consistent. It is constant. It doesn't give up. And it doesn't really even try. It just finds a way. If it's blocked this way, it'll go that way. Or it'll just be persistent over time and carve through mountains. And you want to be thinking about your business from that lens of, how can I not try to rush through this and just be consistent with the process? And it's a dance, it's play. It's not life or death. Victory in entrepreneurship is all about nuances, course corrections. And it takes experience and reps to figure out, oh, that worked, oh, that didn't work. And that is part of the process. So it's impossible to rush and find success. It's impossible because you have to have course corrections. And you only have course corrections through doing stuff and making mistakes or learning what worked and what didn't work. It's just data. It's not a mistake. You have to remember that you just have to keep moving forward because this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. And if you think about the example of Kobe Bryant, he didn't score 81 points in that record game the first time he laced up his sneakers. He'd been at this craft for years. And I know you want clients now. I know you want to have the freedom now, but that's not how it works. We all live right now in an instant gratification society, but that is not reality in the business world. And you can't Instacart your way through business success. The only thing we have control over is our daily actions. And so that is how many calls you made, how many DMs you made, how many posts you made, how many emails you sent, how many texts did you send, how many whatever your metrics is. That's the only thing you should be focused on, not the result. Don't rush through that. And think about what you did today from a lens of, how can I get a little bit better tomorrow? How can I learn from what I did today and get a little bit better tomorrow? And that's how you build excellence in your business. Not rushing your business is a lot like pumping a well. If you think about pumping a well, you put effort in, a lot of effort on the front end. You're pumping, and nothing's coming up until all of a sudden, water is on demand. And now you don't have to pump anymore. You barely touch the pump and water continues to come up. And you have to remember, just because you don't see the flower sprouting doesn't mean it's not growing. It's growing underground. It's the iceberg analogy. You only see 5% of the iceberg. The vast majority of it is underwater. So remember that. Even though you're not seeing the results right now, they're happening. They're growing. It's building. You're creating it. The fourth way to always be in flow in your business and in your life is to remember that everything is always in flux and always changing. You gotta remember that change is good. Nothing is constant. And as long as you can be okay with that, your life's gonna be very easy because you'll realize, okay, I'm an employee right now, but maybe I'm ready to become a solopreneur. And then after a while of being a solopreneur, maybe I'm ready to be an entrepreneur and hire people. And then maybe after I'm ready to be an entrepreneur, maybe I'm ready to be an investor. It's okay to change, and you should change. Change should be welcomed. It should be encouraged. It should be something that you're striving for. Because without change, there can't be growth. You must morph. You must become more than who you currently are. The beautiful thing about change is when you grow and you change, then you're able to give more opportunities for other people to grow and to change. Because now you can hire them. Now you can lean on them. Maybe they are good where you're weak. And you can learn from each other. So embrace change. The fifth way to grow and to flow in your business and life is be happy with the plot you have, where you currently are. I've dreamed of traveling the world and living the life that I'm currently living for years. But the only reason I was able to execute on this because I didn't hate the life I was currently living at the time. I actually appreciated it. I appreciated the opportunities that I had. I appreciated the things that I learned, the people that I interacted with. And you'll realize that you'll never be happy if you're always focused on an if when I get there mentality. If I get 100K in the bank, then I'll be happy. Because once you get the 100K in the bank, then you realize, well, now once I get $1 million in the bank, then I'll be happy. And then once you have the $1 million in the bank, you'll say, well, once I get the $10 million in the bank, then I'll be happy. It never ends. You have to always be happy with your plot, with where you are right now in this moment. If you're not happy with where you are right now in this moment, you'll never get to where you want to go because you don't have a heart filled of gratitude, of appreciation. Without appreciation, it's hard to attract what you want because attraction is all about action. And you won't take action if you don't feel grateful because you won't feel like it's possible. It never stops as far as the desires, what humans want. We always want more. And there's nothing wrong with wanting more, but you have to want more at the same time, be happy with where you're at. It's gratitude in the moment, but it's vision for the future. Never compare yourself to other people. That's just a recipe for misery. Compare yourself to who you were earlier today. Compare yourself to who you really are, to who you really want to be, and then take action in the moment that makes that gap smaller until one day you are that person. And then set a new vision on who you want to become next. That's the whole point of change and growth. Just accept reality in where you are and then take daily action to become exactly the type of person and what that type of person has in their life. Do what winners do. And the sixth and final thing to have flow in your life and business is accept your flaws. I got into sales and entrepreneurship in financial services and my last name was Cheatham. So I used to crack jokes and I accepted it. I knew it was going to be something that would come up. So I always said, hey, I have a law firm. It's Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe. And it was an icebreaker. So people would laugh about it and I accepted it. I accepted that my last name was not the best for sales or financial services, and that's okay. The more you run from who you really are, the more people can see that you're hiding from yourself and they won't trust you. People only trust people that are confident in who they are. So spend not a moment of energy on your flaws, because all that energy you're spending on your flaws, and these are, again, quote unquote flaws. They're not real flaws. They're a story you made up. So if you want to spend your energy on stories you made up about quote unquote flaws, go ahead. But you're going to waste your life and your opportunities and your success. And there's no way to have financial, time, location, and mental freedom if you're wasting your energy on quote unquote flaws instead of using that energy to help other people in their lives and in their businesses. So I hope these 6 lessons about how to use flow to build a better business and life help you. We'll see you next time.